And at my father's funeral, I was just sitting down there at the corner, and I noticed so many people coming to the funeral, and many of them are people that I've never seen before. And at that point in his funeral, sitting at the corner, I thought to myself, Sarah Maylo, if you're gonna drop dead tomorrow, what will people say at your funeral?
Hi there. So today we have a new guest for Humans of Kuala Lumpur's first episode ever, Dr. Sarah May Low. She's the founder and CEO of the Sarah May Low Tarot Academy, and today we're glad to have her here. Um,
Hi, how are you? It has been years.
it has been years as well. Thanks for coming for this podcast. Okay, so maybe introduction for a bit. Sarah, can you introduce us? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Hi, and thank you for having me tonight. So my background it is a bit complicated, but also I would say quite interesting. So why am I Dr. Sarah Miller? Because I have a PhD in human communication. My master's degree is in performing arts and dance. And I have a bachelor's degree in journalism and PR, public relations. I have also a diploma in mass communication. But what I'm known in the media in Malaysia, it is actually Malaysia's #1 tarot reader and also Western astrologer. So that's a bit of my education background and what I'm known in Malaysia.
Can you share your journey of discovering tarot and what inspired you to start the Saramelo Tarot Academy?
Okay, so just now I mentioned, it has been years because when we first met, I think it was like about 6 years ago when you just started this company. We were actually like hanging out, taking some pictures at KLCC. So back then, it was just like the initial first stage or first few years of my new career, I would say. And I don't know whether you remember back then, I still had a day job in advertising. So previously, I worked in advertising for more than 10 years before I came back to Malaysia. So I was heading a media agency in Vietnam. And then I came back to Malaysia and decided to start my own business. But actually, I didn't intentionally wanted to start my business full time. Originally, when I first came back to KL, I wanted to pursue my doctorate. So that was the main reason. So what's the reason of me starting this company? I can't really pinpoint one single, situation or thing that actually brought me into this line of work, but it has been a process which was years in the making, I would say. So it's a combination of loving psychology. So back then when I was in corporate, I was dealing with a lot of people because I was in media sales. So I was dealing with a lot of people and I was always in client facing roles. So I really, really love psychology. So being Malaysian and also being Chinese, a lot of Malaysian Chinese, we believe in Feng Shui and we are usually quite superstitious. So that is why, with my Chinese peers and also non-Chinese peers, they like to ask about, okay, what's going to happen this year? So it got me interested to study more about this. And along the way, even when I was way back in corporate, I find it as a really, really good tool for ice breaking. When it comes to like meeting people, it's like, and you don't know what else to talk about. It's like, and you start asking, hey, what's your zodiac sign? Or, hey, there's tarot cards in my handbag, do you want to actually go and do it? So it really, really started from then. And really miraculously, I think this job kind of chose me. Instead of me choosing the job, I became like much more, I would say, popular for my craft. And it has been about 10 years since, like 4 years part-time and then 6 years full-time.
So, what was the most significant challenges you faced when starting the Tarot Academy?
Significant challenges, probably because even though this craft has been in existence for thousands and thousands of years, hundreds and hundreds of years, probably one of the challenges it is educating people about what it is. Because in the past, when I first came back to Malaysia, I realized that even though there are some tarot readers, but usually they don't market themselves. And marketing is actually my background. Marketing and advertising is my background. So I started to speak to medias. I started to write articles for magazines. So a lot of people realize that essentially it's just life coaching. But previously, people had the misconception it is something that, oh, it's very, very scary, or it's witchcraft. But then as years go by, as time goes by, especially when there's so many tarot readers and astrologer on TikTok and also YouTube now, people just see it as something that can inspire them, or maybe they just want like a good message for the month, for the year, for the day. So it's just as simple as that.
You do this full time, right?
Yes, I do it full time.
So a lot of people pretty sure surprised like you can make a living out of this and actually thriving as well. So like, was there any particular moment that made you realize that tarot was your calling?
Okay. When did I realize it was my calling? So as I mentioned, it was a career that actually chose me. So I thought I would actually work in corporate for many, many, many years. But when about 7 years ago, after my dad passed away, at his funeral, I realized how short life is. So even though I was doing quite well in corporate, I was heading an agency in Vietnam and I was jet setting all over Southeast Asia, I realized that, and I thought to myself, what's my true meaning in life? So by doing this, as I was helping people, I realized that, hey, I'm actually quite good in it. And my clients and also my friends give me a lot of really, really good feedback. So along the way, it took probably years and years of empowerment to realize that, hey, this is actually my calling, because I do enjoy, the positive feedback that I get. And I realized that just using the cards and also astrology alone, it can really inspire a lot of people and help people in life.
Speaking about helping people, can you share a memorable story of a client that has stuck with you? How maybe they've come with a particularly crazy problem and how they met you and you give the advice on tarot and their life changed?
All right. Wow, there's so many stories. I have thousands and thousands of clients, and I'm very grateful because actually 99% of my clients actually do change their life. And what I do notice, why it's such a high percentage, why 99% of people actually change their life, is because when you do seek, whether it's a life coach or a counselor or a psychologist or even a psychiatrist, you are already at a stage of life where you want to change it. So what we do, we don't force people to follow certain rules or to walk certain path, but we do encourage them and empower them to do it. And I'm very, very grateful because, like I say, 99% of my clients do change their life. Many of them have found love. Many of them who found love again after traumatic experience in relationship, and also many of them gain empowerment to either start their own business and also go after their dreams. So there is so many. I can't really pinpoint because all story is really so miraculous.
Maybe
and
top of your head, you don't have to mention the name, but maybe the age or the occupation and yeah, what was the problem? Maybe you can go a little bit into detail about one person, top of your head.
Okay, because of privacy reasons, I can't really go into detail. But then at the top of my mind, most of my clients come to me for two major questions, either career or relationship, because that's everyone's biggest problem in life. So when it comes to career, most of the time it is something that it's much more easier to measure. For example, if I want a promotion and I walk into my boss's room, it's like, boss, how can I get this promotion? My boss say, okay, bring in $1 million in sales and I give you that promotion. So it's something that can be measured. So it's like I bring in that sales, then I knock on my boss room. It's like, boss, I already bring in $1 million in sales. Please give me that promotion. So it's something that it's measurable. But when it comes to relationship, unfortunately, even though you try your very best, sometimes your best is not good enough, which is quite related to my PhD. So my PhD is in human communication, and what I wrote about, it is on intimate communication, gender psychology, romantic relationships, and so online dating. So I realized that By doing that PhD, it's very helpful for my clients who are finding romance and have found romance, or those who've been through very traumatic experience in their relationship. Maybe they got divorced or very, very bad heartbreak. Many of them found love again. So 3 clients at the top of my mind in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. They remarried and they married someone much better and much wealthier. So don't give up. For those of you out there, guys and girls, don't ever give up on love. Whether you are 16 years old, whether you're 60 years old, many people fall out of love every single day. So they will always be candidates in the market. So what I'm so proud of my clients is that they never give up on love, even though many people, probably even people like roughly our age in their 30s, they'll be like, oh, I'm 30 years old already, all the good candidates are already taken, which is not true. So my clients who are already divorced or twice divorced, and maybe some even divorced 3 times, they manage to find love again. So I really love stories related to love because I'm a hopeless romantic myself.
So throughout your journey doing tarot, how has it shaped your understanding of human nature and connection?
Human nature and connection. So it's not just through astrology or through tarot, but it's also through my studies. So it's a combination of the scientific studies that I've done and also the spiritual studies that I've done also. How does it shape my way of life? From a scientific point of view, based on statistics, we see a lot of things. Maybe things in the newspaper, for example, in online dating, there's a lot of scammers. Or maybe a lot of people are, more and more people are getting divorced or something like that. So that is like something that is very, very data-based, very, very science-based, and things that we can read in the newspaper. But from a spiritual angle, even though those kind of negative experiences has happened to other people, but in the spiritual realm, or when it comes to spirituality, the most important thing is having faith. Because faith is what keeps us going, even though data shows us, right, that is already impossible. Because there are, like I say, there are many, many miraculous stories. Even probably if in the future, or if you've interviewed doctors, from data itself, they may say that, okay, from the scans, from the data itself, this patient doesn't look that great, okay? But then there are also many miraculous stories that people who have overcome, cancer or have a second chance in life. So I find the spiritual aspect of what I am doing as my business really give people a lot of faith to keep on going despite all the negative experiences that someone has had in life.
How do you see the role of tarot in today's fast-paced modern society?
Okay, wow, that is so how tarot works in the fast-paced modern society, it actually helps us slow things down. So how tarot cards work is the images of the cards helps us de-string or unstring or remove the knots that is in our mind, just like a therapist or a counselor. When people come to us, they have a lot of thoughts in their mind. And like you say, in this fast-paced world, where everybody has like slash title. For example, I'm a property agent, but I'm also a YouTuber, and I also teach in the academy. So many people in modern times, they have many jobs. And why? Because cost of living is rising up and things are getting much more competitive. So everybody would have like a side hustle or a second job or a third job. So things are really, really fast-paced. But tarot helps calms a person, and for most of my clients, really helps with their anxiety. So that is why when my clients come to me, they'll be like, Sarah, I feel so relaxed just talking to you. And why does that happen? Because tarot cards help them see the images that is already in their mind. And as a tarot reader, we bring out cards to show them step by step. Okay, when you do this, you will achieve this, and this is the end result. So it helps people really untie the knots that is in their mind, and essentially it's also talk therapy. When you're sharing your thoughts, you get to structure your thoughts properly.
Okay, so tarot, some people might think it's magic or witchcraft or, maybe even like haram or something. What are some common misconceptions that you often encounter when people think about tarot?
Okay, so yes, over the years, I've gotten so many of this kind of question, why people think it's witchcraft or why certain religion actually do not promote this or do not encourage their followers or their disciples to actually do tarot reading or fortune telling and things like that. So I do understand like two perspective of things. Like some people who are really into the occult, really into astrology, really into tarot reading, feng shui, palmistry, and all that. And the other end are people who are totally against it. So what I believe is that just as long as a person is not promoting anything that is immorally correct, okay, and it gives them some sort of inspiration, might as well go ahead. You're not hurting anybody. But from a religion perspective, especially way back, thousands and thousands of years ago, people are not educated. So that's why religion prevents their disciples or their followers to actually go for fortune telling, because people were so simple minded. So it was very easy in the past for some sort of like shamans or witch or something like that to actually manipulate people. But in modern days, when everybody is so educated, everyone, like in one stone throw, right, everybody have a degree, just do your due diligence, whether you want to trust a certain tarot reader or feng shui master. Yeah, so that's why I believe that even though people are skeptic, they should be skeptical because not everybody can be trusted. There are bad people everywhere. There are good professors, like incredible professors. And recently also, there were so many cases of professors like probably siphoning money from the universities. They are bankers and they are bad bankers.
So, tarot philosophy, how have you brought it into your personal beliefs?
Into my personal belief, so I'm a big believer in karma, doing good, don't do bad things to people. So I won't say it's just tarot philosophy, it's just be a decent human being. That is plain and simple. But however, what I notice, even with the people and friends around me, being a decent human being sometimes it's actually very hard for a lot of people. Like, promise, do what you promise. That is so difficult for a lot of people. Or like, if you promise me you're gonna return my money on Monday, just do that. Just be a decent human being. So it's really as simple as that.
You were mentioning about manifestation, how people can utilize it to actually work on actionable goals. So, can you expand on that?
Right. So, law of attraction, manifestation. So many people have heard of it, but how do you actually, like you say, utilize it? Do you just read that book and put that book aside and you actually get everything you want? It's not true. So, luck is when your hard work meets opportunity. So even before you manifest something, you have to like put in the work itself. For example, even if I'm going to give you the lottery number, but you don't even walk into the shop to buy the lottery ticket, how are you going to win the lottery, right? So even if you want to find your one true love, but you just sit at home and just wait for your one true love to ding dong, but that's not your one true love. That's like Food Panda or Grab Food. Even if you like to sit at home, you need to swipe, at least like swipe left, swipe right on online dating apps. So there must be some sort of work on your side. Yeah, so opportunities will appear to you if you put in that work or walk down the path that you want to walk down. Yeah, so it's not just sitting down there and not doing anything at all.
You mentioned that it's very common for Gen Zs to ask about MBTI and blood type. Yeah.
Yeah, so many people nowadays, it's very common to ask about your MBTI, your blood type, or maybe your horoscope. And many people also find it annoying and irritating. And I understand from that perspective why people would find it annoying because of projection. Like, oh, your MBTI is INFJ, you're like that, like that, like that. So people tend to not like to be put into certain boxes, which it's valid. Like I don't like people to force their beliefs on me also. So I would say that just see it as something like a icebreaker that is as fun, but don't take it so personally. If people say that, oh, Aries is like that, or Gemini is like that, or Aquarius is like that, don't take things so personally. It's just an ice breaking or conversation opener. And for people who believes in MBTI or your blood type or even horoscope, don't project your beliefs onto other people, and it will be fine.
You were mentioning how there were 40s, 50s, 60s, your clients in the age range who managed to marry and remarry. How about those who are not in that age range? Those who are maybe struggling with a career or relationships or whatnot. Can you tell us a little bit more stories of those in the 20s or 30s and what kind of various problems they faced?
Okay, so for most people in their 20s and 30s, that is the age group where you're still figuring out what you want to do in life. What's your calling, what career path you want to take. So you're still figuring things out, or maybe like, trying to be financially stable. So for those 20s and 30s, I would say think out of the box. If you find that there isn't any opportunity in terms of, okay, I want a job and I just gonna apply. In 2024, the beauty about being 2024 is that you can create opportunities for yourself. Like my company, it's an original idea. It wasn't a process where I actually sent in my resume to a company. If your company also, it was a pure idea that maybe either you manifested it or you draw inspiration from other pages and you realize that, hey, I love what they are doing overseas, or I love the element of this business, and you started this business yourself. So for those 20s and 30s, don't limit yourself to just what is available in the market. So for example, during the pandemic, during COVID a few years ago, it was so heart-wrenching and so sad that so many people lost their job overnight in 24 hours. So probably many of us actually heard of those stories where companies closed down overnight. Media companies closed down in 24 hours. Cabin crews, pilot, in 24 hours they couldn't fly anymore. And many of them came crying to me. Was like, oh, Sarah, what can I do? I don't have a degree. I don't have any other skill. But guess what? Like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later, many of them are doing other things. For example, the beautiful cabin crews, either they are YouTubers right now or they are influencers using their their beautiful looks, and also some of them are selling makeup online or maybe selling cookies online. And also many of my friends who lost their job in the media industry, they have their own company right now. Either they are heading social media agencies or they started their own media platform. So don't limit yourself, because I always believe as human beings, we are all multifaceted human beings and we are all multi-talented human beings. So don't limit yourself to one skill set or think that you don't have any other skill set.
Okay, all right, all right. Glad to hear that. And so they've come to you and you give them the reading, and I guess in a way they get inspired and also believe in themselves again, right? After reading.
Exactly. Many of them, it was such a desperate situation where there's so much anxiety. I think during the pandemic, so many people felt so much anxiety. What does my future hold? I don't have a job, but I got so much bills to pay. Some people even have kids they need to send to school, or some even like private school, or pay for like the house loan. So through like tarot reading, firstly, as I mentioned just now, I help them like unknot certain thoughts in their mind and probably show them certain path. Okay, look at this way, look at this way. There are many things that you can do right now. So even though like maybe you're like a high flying or a high earning pilot, but lower down your ego, because maybe there are part-time jobs that you can do right now, whether it's selling burger. So there was also a story that came on the newspaper. There was a pilot who started selling burger, and he started with a store. I think now he has like his own cafe. So lower down your ego, because there are many ways, right, for you to earn money, or go and drive Grab for a while, or become like a delivery person for a while. Because during the pandemic, those jobs are still available, and you can actually do it immediately. So I find my messages of like telling them, hey, I know you were somebody in your workplace previously, but if you lower down your ego and face reality, you can actually overcome many things in life. Yeah.
Finally, we should mention that because I actually myself started doing Food Panda
Wow.
on a bicycle.
Oh,
Yeah, just
wow.
needed some
Okay.
instant cash, and it's helped me when I needed some extra pocket money or for food money.
I'm proud of
When
you.
we first met about 6 years ago, you drew my card and you mentioned it was a
It
star.
was the star.
So later today, we'll see what card you'll draw for me, and
Okay.
maybe the audience can see what kind of readings you can do as
All
well.
right.
Okay, so we're almost near towards the end. So you mentioned that back then you had a very hard time and you actually tried different paths, especially when your dad passed away. And yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about that story?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, being an adult is so hard, right? Being an adult is so hard. And when we were kids, we wanted to grow up so fast. But being an adult, there's so much responsibility and so many people around us that we need to look after. So, one of the probably like the worst moment in my life ever was my dad passing away 7 years ago. And at that point of time, I was at the height of my career. And at my father's funeral, I was just sitting down there at the corner, and I noticed so many people coming to the funeral, and many of them are people that I've never seen before. And at that point in at his funeral, sitting at the corner, I thought to myself, Sarah Melo, if you're gonna drop dead tomorrow, what will people say at your funeral? At that point of time, 7 years ago, and I was still working in corporate, maybe they would say that, oh, okay, she has a high position in corporate. Or maybe people would say, oh, she's kind of good looking. Or maybe would say, oh, she's quite smart. But have I, at a point of time, 7 years ago, really contributed to society? Not really. So it took me about 1 year of like saving money and also reflecting about my life and my true calling and things I want to do for me to really, really have the strength to leave corporate. Corporate is something that is very, very stable and it's like in my comfort zone. So for somebody to even leave their stable corporate job, it's very, very tough. But my father's death actually gave me the strength to really do something on my own. So that's why I came back to Malaysia. Apart from starting my own business, it was also to take off my bucket list, which was doing my PhD.
So, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to turn their passion into a career, especially something as niche as yours?
All right. So this advice that I would give, it's quite contradicting with other advice that I've heard out there. So many people say that sometimes the people that help you are strangers, not family members or friends. But the first people that really became my clients were family members, were friends, and also my clients from the advertising field because I was in media previously. So when I first started, I reached out to them and tell them it's like, hey, I'm doing this right now. Do you want to be my client? Can I test some readings on you? And I find that the people around me was very supportive. And then it became word of mouth, the news started to spread, and I started doing a lot of like events, corporate shows. So the people around you, your community, can help you. You just need to be a bit thick face and go out there and ask for help.
Okay, what is your vision for the future of the Sarah Melo Tarot Academy?
All right, so I am a new PhD graduate. So definitely I want to utilize my doctorate degree. Like as I mentioned earlier, my doctorate degree, I research on relationships. So probably help my clients do more relationship coaching. So that's the first thing. I'm a bit crazy, so I like to study a lot. So I'm also doing another diploma in dance movement therapy because I've already have a master's degree in dance. So by doing this diploma, I want to go into the therapy field, maybe introducing, apart from dance movement therapy, maybe also introducing art therapy, music therapy, and drama therapy. And also utilizing tarot cards, astrology, and maybe a bit of like relationship coaching in order to help my clients. So I would like to experiment a bit and fuse everything together.
If you can do a tarot reading to anyone out there, who would it be?
So must it be Malaysian or must it be
Let's do both, global and
both?
Malaysian.
Okay, so if it's overseas, I really love Oprah Winfrey because she's an Aquarius like me, and Oprah Winfrey, also she's really into spirituality. So Oprah Winfrey. Locally, I don't really have anyone in mind locally. Maybe one of Malaysia's top billionaire. It would be nice to not only look into their cards but also into their birth chart to see how they got rich.
Wow, yeah, it was interesting.
That'd be interesting, right? So yeah.
And what is your message to Malaysians and the people who's watching this? Maybe about tarot, just one sentence.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe okay. Maybe for you all, some of you guys who was watching this, you might be wondering what is tarot. Tarot ni apa? Tak faham or whatnot. So how, in one sentence, how can you convince them to try it out?
All right. So essentially, tarot reading or even astrology reading, it is just like a life coaching session. We won't force you to do something that you don't want to. So take it just as a guidance and come with an open mind. Don't be scared about it. It's not something that you see of Harry Potter. That is just in the movies.
Okay. Last question. What is your legacy that you hope to leave behind?
What's the legacy that I hope to leave behind? As I mentioned just now, inspire the people around me. So there's so many things that I still want to do in life. Like I say, I'm a recent graduate. So after this, maybe I'm going to take like the next 1 year off to do backpacking around the world. So I have countries. I think I'm going to visit about 20, 30, 40 countries in the next 1 year. So yeah, maybe follow me on my journeys. And why am I doing all that, right? I want to inspire people. It doesn't matter whether you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old. There is always chance for you to redeem yourself at any age and go after your dreams or take off your bucket list.
Okay. Do you mind pulling one card and showing what is maybe in store for Himosakal or myself in the future?
Why not you pick one card? Yeah.
Okay,
Since you are the
energy
owner.
reading over here.
Okay, let's see. Ding, ding, ding.
There you go.
It's a money card. Ace
Yay!
of Pentacles. Okay, don't forget me, ang
Okay,
pao. Wow.
So what can you tell us a little bit about this card?
So Ace of Money card, very obviously, it's like a big gold coin over here. So it's a money card. So it's profit. Like in the next 12 months, right, you will start to see profit for your company.
Ka-ching, ka-ching,
Ka-ching,
ka-ching.
ka-ching. Is there something that I don't know, like probably investors coming in or something like that in the next 12 months? So you can look back into this recording in the next 12 months, meaning from now, from now up to the next 12 months. And let's see.
All right, thank you, Sarah, for joining Himosakal's first ever episode. Who would you nominate next?
Who would I nominate next? Just now we talked a bit about billionaires. Can you like bring a billionaire on board?
Robert Koch, if he's watching this, contact me. All right. Thank you, guys. And that's all for Himosakal.
Just explain, right?
Yeah.
But some
Is
people
it-
might not get it.
Is it because they couldn't see your arms or something?
Yeah, well, okay, so it is that situation where it's an honest mistake, right? But in most cases, it's just blatant, they don't care.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're like, I know it's just wrong to put your feet on the, so you don't have hands, so what? Right? I've had that kind of situation where, yeah, they don't care whether I had arms or no arms.
Was this at restaurants or movies?
Yeah,
or-
restaurants,